back to the results cone. So belief thoughts are on the bottom of the cone. The next level from thoughts are actions. So once we grab that little thought, that's a belief. We had to believe it to grab it. Otherwise, if we didn't believe it, it ain't gonna happen. That's why I said if you don't believe in something, it's not true for you. That's true. Because you're not gonna grab that thought, right? And if you don't have the thought, and you don't speak that thing out, and that's either out of your mouth or physically out of your being with an action that moves you towards that thought. So the next level of the cone are actions. So these are steps that we do in reaction to thoughts and beliefs. So these are things that, hey, something comes to your mind. I want to lose weight. And so I'm just going to choose to not eat. I'll say not eat carbs. That's like the common way. So I'm just not going to eat carbs. So now we've gone from the bottom of the results cone, which is belief and thought. So but first of all, we had to believe that not eating carbs is going to help us lose weight. So that's where the belief comes. So the thought floats by. Okay, I want to lose weight. Here's the thought. Don't eat meat. Don't eat carbs. So this is what just went in my mind as I'm talking about this. Don't eat meat. Don't eat carbs. Don't eat Well, for me, it's carbs because meat doesn't make me gain weight. That's just meat. I'm talking about I can eat Atkins diet, meat all day and lose so much weight if I would just stick with it. So anyway, meat doesn't make me gain weight, but carbs do. So for me, I release the meat to the universe. I don't grab that thought. I let go of carbs. So my action is to reduce my carbs or eliminate my carbs or whatever I've got to do. So that's my second part of the results cone, which is the actions. And then the third, the top, which is the widest part of the cone. And I can't really do it, but if this is the V, and I'll probably put this on there. I can probably throw it on the side of this. The V, the top part is results. That is the largest part of the cone, and there's no top on the cone. So results are unlimited. They go into infinite because what we put in are thoughts and beliefs, and then now move forward on with actions, create all of the results in our life. All of the results. All of them. So if I want to, so this is going into the results coaching part that I do. And people say, well, how do you coach or how do you this or how do you that? There's some basic laws. All I'm doing is teaching you basic laws and then I'm holding you accountable to those laws. But from a results part, the results part of the cone is just what the outcomes. What you put in is going to come out. What you sow, you will reap. I don't control that. That's controlled by the universe. That's going to happen. If you put it out there, the result of that, there will be consequences and results and manifestations that are coming from what you put out into the universe, what you take action on, what you move forward on, what you allow into your space. All of those things create the results of your life. So guess what? If there's an area of your life that you don't like, or an area of your life that you're unhappy with, or you feel you haven't done all that you want to do in that, all you have to do is pick. And I don't want to make it seem simple because it's not simple. It's not. It's simple, but it's not easy. And those two are different. It's not easy because it does take something to stop and look at yourself, become self-aware and look at your results, the result that you don't like. I don't like that I have this little wheel at the top of my stomach. Like, I don't like that. I wish it wasn't there, but it's there. But I have noticed that if I back off the carbs and the sugars, then that little wheel goes down. It becomes smaller. So my results change because guess what? I already have the belief, but the thought comes up and says, hey, I could pass up on that piece of pie or those pieces of cookies or that glass of wine, or whatever. The first two are a lot easier than the last one. But anyway, I can pass up on that just this day, not every day, maybe 5 days this week. I'm going to pass up on that and do something different. And guess what? When I look up, I'm going to notice a little 1/4 inch gone off that because the results are going to speak. And those The law of what you sow, that you shall reap it's called immutable. It's an immutable law. You cannot beat it. You cannot change it. And if you're watching this video and you're one of those people that's like, oh, that's that new age stuff, I don't believe in that. Honey, you don't have to believe in it for it to be in effect in your life. If you say, oh, that's that Bible preaching, sow and reap stuff, I don't believe in that. You don't have to believe it for it to be in effect in your life. That is where I was going with that. And if you've heard me speak anywhere or come to Dreams Fulfilled or have heard me on anything where I'm speaking publicly in any way on coaching or maybe even privately spoken, you've heard this example. You cannot believe in gravity. You can say, you know what? I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that because I serve a God who is capable of all things. Yes, you do. And that same God put in place these laws. That's where they came from. Where else could they come from? He's the source. She's the source. Whatever you call him, her, whatever, is the source of all. That's where it comes from. It's immutable. You can't beat it. You can't get around it. The best example is the law of gravity. Now, you might not call it the law of gravity. That's just a name we gave it. So, I don't get into names, don't get into labels. Listen for what's under the words. I hate words because words are so limiting. But go up under the words to what is the capital THE, the truth of it. Not about the word, but let's just say we agree on the word gravity and the law of gravity. And hopefully you believe in the law of gravity, but whether you do or not, it's immutable. You cannot defy it. Now, can you build? Are there things that can be built that will defy it because it's another law that's just as strong that can then overwhelm? That's how planes fly and all of those things. So yes, there are things that can be put in place and created, which is coming from that same source. That he can give us something that can override all that. But you don't have something that can override it. So if you think so, then go up to the top roof, the highest roof. If you're a 2-story home, there's multiple level roofs. If it's a 1-story, just the roof. Go to the roof of your home and jump off and see which way you go. And then, let's just say you're like, probably gonna fall. You're probably right. But if you don't believe in gravity, then jump off and keep walking or go up or go around or glide to the ground, whatever you want to do. But I bet if I were a betting girl, I bet you're going to hit the ground because that's the law of gravity. So the same with the other. I don't know what this little piece of hair is doing over there, but I'm not going to interrupt my video. So we're going to have to let that go. I'm sorry. It's mostly women watching this anyway. So y'all ain't tripping on my hair. So anyway, yeah, all of that to say, these laws impact our lives. They're useful to know because we can use them for our benefit. Thoughts, powerful energies that are floating around. And some of them are positive. Some of them are negative. Some of them are downright evil. And so, you got to watch that too, because if the thoughts that you're grabbing and, you're like, oh, I've been having some evil thoughts. Check that. Like you gotta reject it. And then you've got to get yourself out of that vibration. Because if you're attracting evil thoughts, if you're attracting negative thoughts, if you're attracting self-defeating thoughts, then what's going to come behind that? Evil actions, self-defeating actions, sabotaging actions towards yourself and others. And oh my God, we haven't even got to the next level of this thing, which is what we put out action wise creates results for us. But guess what? Everything we put out action wise goes into the universe. The universe, the ultimate source of all, is just one big, that word is mass. Let's just say one big mass of energy. That's God. One big mass of energy from which we all come. from which we have all been just breathed into. If you go back to Genesis, that story, you really get that story, the story of it. Very, not a word, I don't have a word there, but a good story about example of how we came to be from source. God just blew air, spoke us into existence, and that's what happens. So guess what? But from where? From nothing, from that eternal source. And from that eternal source, then, if we're all from there, and it's all there is, and it is the beginning and the end, then guess what? Everything within it is just reflecting. It's just energy bouncing around in that same big mass. It's energy bouncing around. Well, the thing about that is when we put those actions out and we put those words out and we put that energy and motion out, it's going to bounce back to us. It's called karma. That's where the word karma comes from. So the energy that we put out into our lives creates the results, the consequences that we live with every day. The energy we put out also impacts the lives of others, the things around us, nature, the environment, and what we put out that way bounces back to us. So we want to keep it positive. We want to keep it positive because if we put out the negative, guess what's going to bounce back? Negative. So we just need to be cautious and we need to be conscious of what we put out, and make sure that we're intentional about what we're putting out and not just, I'm a jokester, so I make jokes and I say stuff. And I'm a lot more cautious with it now than I used to be. I'm real clear at saying it's a joke, like you're going to know. And my way of letting you know that it really is a joke a lot of times, or that I'm being a little facetious, is I use curse words. That way, you know, like that she's not serious. When I'm sitting, well, I'm not saying I'm not serious, but I'm kind of putting a little line in there. But when I'm sitting here and I'm talking about these things and I'm passionate about these, I don't really throw jokes. I don't really throw jokes in there because these are people's lives and I'm putting something out into the universe. And whether not one person watches this video, I'm putting it out into the universe because God's going to see it. The universe sees it. The source sees it. I'm putting it out into my own life. I'm speaking it into my household, which affects the life of my son, which affects the energy that he picks up when he walks in here. The thoughts that I put around this place are floating around up in here. Have you walked in somebody's house before and like, oh my God, your house feels so good, so peaceful, so homey? It's the thoughts that are being put out. It's the books, it's the words that are being released in that space. Have you walked into a space and you're like, oh my God, it feels so empty and cold and scary and ugly in there? It's the thoughts that are being put out in that space. It's the words that are being put out in that space. So all of those things are just things to keep in mind as we choose our life, because we get to choose our life and we choose the experiences that we want. And if it's happening, it's God's will. It's the will of source. Because otherwise it wouldn't be happening. Okay, good or bad, it wouldn't be happening. We can't go above God. Who do we think we are? We can't outsource God. Who do we think we are? If we're doing something that's outside of his will, it ain't gonna happen. Can't happen. It's his will. Now we may be doing something that we go, well, I know God wouldn't want this for me. Well, it's his will that we have free will and experience the things in life that we choose to experience. He loves us that much that he's brought us here to allow us to experience ourselves and our spirit and our soul in the way that we want to experience it. That's love. That's love. With that, I'm going to end this video. Have a great day. Love ya. My sister hates me to say smooches, so I'm trying not to say smooches, but smooches. Bye-bye. Oh, subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Please share. Please share the video if it's useful. Bye-bye.